Yeah, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and we're pooping out another video here just talking about some comeback games, just some games that might have maybe not have been so great when they launched. Maybe they were very underrated at the time, and now they're getting the appreciation that they deserve, or they're starting to get where really they should have been all along. These are games that need to keep the hype alive, and I think a lot of people, for one reason or another, really missed on these games, and some of those reasons are very obvious, honestly, but for one reason or another, these games have gone from one place to another, and I think generally they're being seen more favorably. Or, a lot of these games can go up and down. Sometimes they were good, then bad, and then maybe good again. I don't know. MMOs are living, breathing worlds, and those worlds can be quite storied. So, if you guys have any thoughts and feelings, let me know in the comments below. But these are 5 MMO plus an honorable mention games that, I think they possibly could make a comeback, or are currently in the process of doing so. Alright, first one's going to be World of Warcraft. It should be pretty obvious. Every new expansion totally changes the game, and that's because the real meat and taters of the game is the end game. So how the end game works, that progression, how does it push the story, what is the overall experience of that replayability, the gameplay loop of the grind. Basically the grind. Is the grind fun? Is the content actually worth doing, etc.? For most players, yeah, World of Warcraft generally has a lot of time sinks, generally puts the story, it just kind of throws it wherever it wants to, and it seems like every other expansion is pretty decent. Yeah, really, a lot of people really liked vanilla. Burning Crusade was something, but Wrath of the Lich King, you know what I'm saying? And then Legion was actually pretty cool, but everything else was like, really, really debatable, or just straight bad. So World of Warcraft, we're coming off of kind of a sour note, to be honest, and this new expansion could change some things around as always, but also with the opening of World of Warcraft Classic, I think has people reinvigorated that Blizzard maybe is going to treat World of Warcraft okay, but then again, Blizzard as a whole, the direction that they've been going in has just been a kind of a downward spiral, with Overwatch really just being the shining example of old Blizzard, kind of. I don't know. World of Warcraft, it's got the potential for a comeback, but then again, some people would probably debate that it's never really lost its spot as number one. It's always been a decent or good MMO, and that's just kind of saying something about the entire genre. So, yeah, this one's gonna be dubious, but I gotta slap it down because if there's any game that has the resources and power to make a comeback and be bigger and better, obviously it's the World of Warcraft. All right, number 4 is going to be one that you guys are definitely going to want to fight with me in the comments below about. This is a game that I have not played since launch day, but what a launch day that was. Atlas. Atlas has technically made a comeback already, and I think in time, it could actually be pretty decent. And there's a couple of reasons why I'm saying this. One, it was actually like the second worst reviewed MMO, based on percentages, but technically based on just the number of reviews, Atlas was the worst MMO of all time. It had a huge surge of popularity, everyone jumped on it, and the whole world saw what a steaming pile of poopy this was. And not only that, but all the controversy that went along with this game, the drama, spicy boys. But Atlas is a game that, if you compare it in a vacuum with all the other sandbox PvP-oriented MMO, actually, even at launch, not the worst experience. I mean, looking at Darkfall and Life is Feudal and many others, those games, these games tend to be just janky, horrible, awful experiences and toxic. But from Ark Survival Evolved devs, you would hope and think that they would kind of change around the formula. And even though the population isn't as big as it was at launch, obviously, by far, it's actually more populated, vastly so, than most of the kind of games in this genre. And plus, it's kind of got a cool gimmick with the sailing and, the pirate theme, I guess, whatever. But Atlas, if they continue to expand and they are doing updates, it looks like people have kind of come to know what to expect with this game. So mixed reviews now, has a lot of reviews, and I think in time, they could pull something pretty fantastic. We've seen a lot of other sandbox games actually over time, like No Man's Sky, add content, polish it up, balance it out, and it actually worked out. As long as they just keep fueling the fire, which, yeah, they were viral at first and for, infamous bad reasons, but if they can take that attention and just keep eyeballs on Atlas, as long as there's players, which there are, other games just don't have it, Darkfall don't have it, Atlas has players at least, and as long as they keep fueling the fire with those players, then this game could become really good, and eventually, you know, for just the average player, it might be time to jump back in. So I'll check it out probably sometime this year as well. Definitely, this one has the potential, but it's a little shaky. Okay, number 3 is a game I'm throwing out here, and I feel kind of bad for putting it on a list of comebacks, because Adventure Quest 3D is a game that I think is cute, and it's kind of designed to be a smaller niche title. Most of the games on this list, you know, they might be super popular like World of Warcraft, or they might be generally a focused game, but for one reason or another, I'm really looking at how the community that would normally play these games feels. And Adventure Quest 3D is a game that should be popular and viral. It should be kind of like Toontown or Wizard 101. It should be really seen in those sort of like small community-driven, you know, like those little seasonal event, minigame-oriented style games where you jump in and you have a concert or something. And Adventure Quest 3D actually has done concerts with stuff like Korn, right? Like, it's so weird, like metal and new metal thrown in here in this cute sort of like chibi-ish, you know, European sort of. Okay, honestly, it just looks like a standard MMORPG, but it just looks like a cute standard MMORPG, but when you actually get into the game, okay, it kind of seems like it plays like it too. But I'm telling you guys, this is a totally different kind of experience. If you play private server MMO, then you know what I'm talking about. It's all about cultivating that smaller audience, but in my opinion, with the push publicity that Adventure Quest is trying to do with these seasonal events, with trying to get YouTubers to play this game, I think it's something that could kind of become a little bit more than what it is now. Not that it's bad, or really any of these games are exactly bad or horrible, especially for the people who do love these kind of games. It's just, all these games could be a little bit more in time, and I think Adventure Quest 3D definitely is one of those hidden gems, deserves more attention sort of games that it looks like they're really working to get. So yeah, I'm gonna slap it on a comeback list. Definitely Adventure Quest. Used to be kind of like a viral meme sort of game, and it totally still is, but let's make it more viral. All right, number 2 is Black Desert Online. A lot of people are gonna hate me for that, but I personally play Black Desert Online for a myriad of non-competitive reasons, even though I do mostly play games competitively. So I understand that there is some qualms that you might have with certain features of Black Desert Online, and those features seem to be becoming more convoluted and complex. Generally, just like the cash shop stuff, generally the expanded content is kind of all over the place. Like they might add a new class or a new zone, but you know, then they just might add in some random like life skill or something like that. Oh, a sailing expansion. It's just really out there and weird, and people don't really know the direction this game is going. But I think in a sense, by going in all directions at once, just over time, slowly and steadily, Black Desert Online is becoming the most massive MMO in terms of just raw gameplay. Even though a lot of it is repetitive gameplay and you are going to be doing a lot of the same stuff, but when you jump into the game, potentially this game can attract many different kind of players, despite it being what it should be considered is like a looter grinder action RPG. So what I want to see from this game is more polish with the netcode and stuff like that. When it comes to competitive, more balance of the PvP, and of course expanding the endgame PvE, the bosses, and making it more enriched and really challenging. And I think they can easily do that. And it seems like they are going in, you know, all directions. So I think eventually in time it will. But that's one thing to note, guys, is in time. This game has been consistently updated. This game has been consistently polished over. This game has just been consistent. And I think even though there is a lot of negativity surrounding this game, it also has a tremendous player base. And I don't mess with the mobile version. But I do like the tools, the classes, and just the gameplay that overall the suite offers. The Black Desert suite of experiences and what it has to offer. Me and you and many other players just want something a little bit extra or here and there. And I think they'll totally add it eventually. I think in time we will see this game evolve more and more. Kind of like a Warframe experience or maybe Path of Exile. It just kind of started on, I would say, the wrong foot, and maybe appealed to, I would say, a more dubious audience, but it could steer in the right direction. It's not impossible. In fact, Warframe used to be objectively pay to win originally, and you know, over time they've sort of started to streamline, and then they just started finally, whatever. We're not talking about Warframe. Black Desert Online. It could steer in the right direction, and I think it's possible. And finally, our number one for MMO that can make a comeback, is a game that honestly, okay, I was making this list and update was about to happen. I was pretty freaking sure it was going to make a comeback. It did. This video is coming out a little late. Actually, 2 expansions or 2 updates have hit Albion Online specifically that have raised it from mixed reviews and overall more negative connotation online to pretty freaking positive. A lot of people are really excited. So if you guys don't know, Albion Online went free to play, but when it launched, actually, it was a little weird. They changed around the map. A lot of balancing issues went awry. And the game was pretty toxic, just like every other hardcore sandbox MMO, but Albion actually has so many lanes of gameplay from almost Farmville-ish to, yeah, the PvE is actually legitimately playable, and I even play it as a solo player PvE. I just run around the open world and kind of jungle it, which is fun, and every once in a while I'll gank and get ganked. And I gotta say that the cat and mouse gameplay of, being a gatherer, running around, is the most fun in Albion than any other game. They actually take it seriously and realize that it's cat and mouse, not wolf versus sheep. There's a difference. Rant video coming up soon. But anyways, if you want a PvE, group content, play Holy Trinity gameplay, even the guild fights are competitive like a MOBA-ish kind of feel, very League of Legends-inspired combat system. Dude, this game's got a lot. It was just poorly balanced, the economy was poorly managed, and the map shape and everything was just weird, but with all these updates, the newfound focus, new expansions, new content, the game is really hitting its stride and everyone is having a lot of fun in it. Not just hardcore Albion players, but I think more and more people who just kind of see it, they're like, oh, well, maybe I'll try a hardcore sandbox MMO. Trust me, this is one of the most carefree or easiest to jump into hardcore sandbox MMO. In fact, it's like the only one. A lot of other sandbox MMOs, like I kind of mentioned with Atlas, kind of like don't work. They just don't have players. But Albion Online, right next to Atlas, actually more so, is like the, hey, jump in, jump out, play casually if you want to, carefreely if you want to, or take it competitively, hardcore sandbox MMO. So casual hardcore sandbox MMO, it actually makes sense, it actually works, and it's totally different flavor than the casual sandbox of Black Desert. It is a PvP-focused game, but there is so much more to it, and even though you play alone, you can still be a part of a guild and actually impact the world around you. I so appreciate this game, and especially with all these new expansions, I need to jump back in and cover all of it, because this is actually one of my favorite MMOs, and I would love to pimp it out. So yeah, can it make a comeback? It already freaking has, and I think it's going to go way further beyond even starting from here. But guys, that's it. Just kidding. We had an honorable mention for the outro, but I hope you guys had fun with the list. And that's going to be Blade and Soul. Blade and Soul actually never really took off in the West, but I think in some ways similar to Black Desert, actually, when it comes to like better netcode, better performance overall, and also people are getting better internet, people are having better machines. In time, we're going to be able to play Blade and Soul as well as Black Desert a little bit better. But on top, Cherry, Blade and Soul is actually getting a whole engine freaking update. Not just a graphics overhaul, but a whole engine update. Some people feel a little weird about it, so we'll see where it goes from there. It could teeter, but yeah. I think in general, actually, Blade and Soul is probably going to do decent. It could make a comeback. But also, I want to kind of reflect back on a lot of other MMOs, maybe like PlanetSide, which is a known game that kind of had performance issues, and you really need to play it at a high FPS to, get a lot out of it. A lot of MMOs didn't quite work, or maybe they were overly ambitious or they were unoptimized, such as Terra. But maybe now with, better machines, better internet, and maybe a little bit of optimization, we can jump back into these games and have a much better time. I definitely will want to try to get you to do that, and I need to do that myself here with my re-reviews coming here all this year. Hope you guys look forward to that. But anyways, that's all I gotta say, friends and family. That's the 5. I'm keeping the hype alive. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you again next time.